Well, for more on where the U.S. economy stands and where it's going, I'm joined live by Joe Minarik, Senior Vice President and Director of Research at the Committee for Economic Development. Always good to have you on.
Good to be with you, Rachelle.
So let's start with the highlights from Powell's testimony. What were the biggest takeaways?
The softening outlook, or the soft outlook on inflation, was clearly an important part of what the chairman had to say. He is concerned about getting the economy back to levels of utilization and employment in the near future. So he was saying that he would continue to support the economy. If anyone in the economy was concerned about the Federal Reserve beginning to raise interest rates or somehow attempting to throttle back what is perceived by some as a threat to inflation, the chairman clearly stated that he believes that the economy continues to need that support. So he's on board with attempting to get the economy back.
So then talk about the ways that they're currently supporting the economy, how effective that's been, as well as the tools at their disposal if the recovery should take longer than expected.
Well, the Federal Reserve is out of room in terms of reducing interest rates in the conventional way, and that, of course, has been true for some time. So what they have been doing in addition is buying assets and therefore reducing interest rates up and down the maturity curve. Normally, the Federal Reserve affects only an overnight interest rate. Now they are buying longer-term assets to keep even longer-term rates lower. The other tools that they have had have proved somewhat less successful in this particular environment. The Federal Reserve has created some lending facilities, but as Chairman Powell has been very clear to state in the recent past, the Federal Reserve can only lend money. It can't spend money. And there are many businesses in the U.S. economy in the service sector that have been hit because of the pandemic and because people can't gather to go to restaurants or to travel, for example. And as a result, you have businesses where borrowing money is not an option. They do not want to have additional liabilities on their balance sheets. So the Fed at this point is employing the tools it's got. Whether there's anything else hiding in the background is not clear at this point, but the Fed is doing what they can under the current circumstances.
So then as you the U.S. Federal Reserve's role in this sort of economic recovery, what's your outlook for the U.S. economy, given some of the trends that you're keeping an eye on and some of the additional support that may have to come from outside the Fed?
Well, the Fed has made clear, Chairman Powell made clear today, that progress against the coronavirus is really extremely important. It's central. If we are going to get people out of their homes and doing business again, going to the restaurants that have been closed and giving them a reason to open up again, doing the travel, the hospitality activities that have been hurt so badly in this downturn, people have to feel secure about their health and the public health. People have been responding to the news about rising coronavirus infections in the past. Now they're beginning to really want to get out again, and the news on the coronavirus front has been somewhat more positive. But at the same time, we have lurking in the background the problems with respect to mutations of the virus, which may get around many of the vaccines that we're now trying to get onto the market to help it to be safe again. So that's really one of the most important things, and it's not something that economists normally talk about or that the Federal Reserve normally talks about, but it is extremely important in the current environment.
And these certainly are strange times indeed. I want to now look at former Fed chair turned current U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. She recently made comments about jobs, debt, taxes, cryptocurrencies, while also considering the broader mandate on climate from the Biden administration as she assesses the health of the economy. What are your thoughts on the sort of eyes she's looking through now as the Treasury Secretary and how that might help her given her experience then as the head of the Fed?
Well, right now we have a chair at the Federal Reserve and a Secretary of the Treasury who not only share experience, and they also work together directly at the Federal Reserve, which is another important aspect of their ability to communicate and to cooperate. But in addition, they're speaking in very similar tones about the need to get the economy moving again. And that is a very positive thing for the U.S. economy in the sense that people don't have to worry about a tug of war between the Fed and the Treasury. They don't have to worry about bickering in the background. They can be confident that our policymakers are working together, talking to one another in a positive way. So that is probably a very good piece of news for the economy going forward.
Well, we could certainly use it. Thank you so much, as always. Joe Minarik there, Senior Vice President and Director of Research at the Committee for Economic Development.